I'm a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go, and even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm alone. I'm alone.
Good morning. We leave our campsite near Langholm. What a peaceful night. Even though it was right by the A7, it was still not particularly disturbed, and only £15, so we made good advantage of that. Emptied everything we needed to empty and filled up water and things. The weather is kind of intermittent. We've got a bit of rain at the moment, as you can probably see. It was waiting for me to get this sorted out so I could do the... We're now taking a majestic drive up the A7 towards Hoyk, and it's piddling. I'm sure there'll be more opportunities, but the scenery in Scotland is incredible. It's immense, awesome. So we'll carry on, and we're going to take you into Hoyk and see what there is in Hoyk other than a supermarket. Catch you later. Hoyk is internationally famous for fine quality knitwear, especially cashmere. The heritage and future of Scotland's premier textile industry is showcased within the beautifully restored 16th century Borders textile tower house at the heart of Hoyk. Let's go for a walk. This statue celebrates the return of the flag in 1514 after they beat off the English marauders at the Battle of Flodden. Well, it's got nice high street, not that many empty shops unlike so many high streets. Traffic, however, is horrendous, but they have got roadworks over the main town bridge on the A7. Queues everywhere. It took quite a long time to get through. Speaking of the capturing of the flag, tradition has it that in 1514, after the Battle of Flodden in 1513, a group of Hoyk youths overcame a British raiding party 2 miles east of the town at a spot on the River Teviot called Hornshole, capturing their flag. Many adult males had fallen at Flodden, leaving only boys to defend their communities. The captured flag was brought back to Howick by the victorious youths, and quite rightly celebrated. In the heart of Howick is the Borders Textile Tower House. This is a building with a secret. There is a tower that was built in the early 1550s, a defensive port for the town against board reivers. This is a teasel machine. Teasels being harvested and loaded onto a cylinder that was driven around, and it brushed the wool fabric to give the appearance of mohair. This is a hand stocking frame. It's said in 1868 there were over 800 hand frames in Hoyk, with about half making underwear and half making hose and socks. The museum rather underplays the brands that have made Hoyk famous. In the early days of the Borders textile industry, garments and tweed patterns were designed by individual knitters and weavers. After the First World War, as knitwear evolved from underwear to outerwear, colour detail and fashion shape became crucial. To stay ahead of the competition in 1934, Pringle appointed the Borders' first knitwear designer, the Austrian exile Otto Weiss. You've got Pringle, House of Cheviot and many others. Everybody remembers a Pringle cashmere jumper. Let's give you a bit of a roundup on today. So today we left our campsite and drove up to Hoyk.
Hoyk.
Had a wander around the town. Interesting little town, some nice looking shops and things. Went to the textile museum, which you will probably already have seen. I think the only thing I have to say about the textile museum is it kind of missed the point. So one of the interesting things about Hawick is the production of cashmere and the production of tweed, and indeed the area generally, the production of tweed. And the museum completely missed that. It was kind of blindsided, which was a real shame. There was certainly an opportunity for a lot more
of the history,
both social and industrial.
Yeah.
Talking about industrial history, we drove from Hawick through the Tweed Valley, which was very pretty. Very difficult to get any decent images or photography because the road basically ran along the side of the river and was flanked by trees, and it was very windy. But that was other than that, it seemed to take forever. And we are tonight
at New Lanark. You can stay here overnight, as you can in Hawick. Actually, there is a car park in Hawick where you can stay overnight, but you can stay here overnight for £7.
There aren't any facilities. There's some bins and things, but there's
Yeah.
you don't get toilets and showers and exciting things like that.
And it's not massively level. We really have a bit of a slope tonight, even with the levelling blocks.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're going to go down go and visit New Lanark, so we can click another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Hopefully be able to bring you some information about New Lanark.
And see how much it's changed since the last time we were here.
Which was many years ago.
We can't remember how long ago.
I have memories of children and the very long hill down and the even longer hill back up. And then tomorrow we are about an hour and 4 minutes from the Falkirk Wheel, and we will continue our adventure. Well, good morning. As I intimated last night, there is a hill. So we're walking down the hill, and we'll see you at the bottom. Because walking down the hill is a very boring video. We emerge into New Lanark. And as you can probably tell, it's a model village. Of course, when I say a model village, I don't mean a model village. Let's go and find out about the world of Robert Owen. Well, here we are, the visitor attraction reception. Does it irk me somewhat that it's called a visitor attraction? It's been a while since we've been here. I hope they haven't ruined the idea. If you remember our brief video about Crompton Mill, you'll remember the name Richard Arkwright. New Lanark was founded in 1783 by Richard Arkwright and David Dale, a prominent philanthropist and businessman from Glasgow.
Welcome to the spirit world of New Lanark. Do you believe in ghosts?
Maybe you can't see us, but we're right here. We live on in the walls around you. The floors we walked on. The things that we touched.
New Lanark Cotton Mill was founded in 1785 by David Dale. In 1800, social reformer Robert Owen bought the mill and tried to transform the village into a utopian community. He introduced progressive ideas like free education for children, improved housing and fair working hours. These reforms were revolutionary for the time and made New Lanark a globally significant model for industrial welfare and social change, which is why in 2001 it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We were left feeling empathy with Robert Owen. He clearly wanted to do more, but for whatever reason was not able to complete his aims. He later spoke of a working day of 8 hours being the maximum anyone should work, for example. It certainly gives you a lot to think about, and we would recommend that you try to get here to see what you think.
You boy, if
you don't do your schoolwork, you won't get your break.
Typical mill worker's house in the 1820s. Water being drawn from a well outside. Single room occupancy. Communal sanitary facilities also outside. Typical accommodation in the 1930s. In the 1930s, almost 1,000 people lived in New Lanark. The tenants were quite crowded. Only a few households had more than 2 rooms, even though families with 6 or 7 children was not uncommon. There were no bathrooms, but there was running water in the houses and free electric light. On each landing was a lavatory shared by 2 households, while communal wash houses provided facilities for the weekly wash. The houses were owned by the mill company, with rents traditionally low, 2 rooms costing only about 2 shillings a week. So in some stark contrast to the tenement housing behind, here is the mill owner's house, or Robert Owen's house, the majority of the time that New Lanark was functioning. Robert Owen's office is bigger than most of the tenement housing provided. Our walk to the Falls of Clyde has been somewhat curtailed by the rain, which is a shame, but it's beautiful here. So tonight we're in Falkirk. Well, actually, more specifically, we're at the Falkirk Wheel. It's £18 for the night. Very large car park. We're currently around about 3:30 in the afternoon, and there's not that much space, so you clearly have to be early. So we're going to go now down to the visitor centre, pay for our parking, and have a ride on a boat.
I really don't understand. Does it literally turn round? How do you not fall out? How does the water not fall out?
Because it's balanced. So you have a bottom boat there and a top boat there, so there's like two big baths full of water with locks at either end. So you load your boats in at the bottom, you load your boats in at the top. You don't have to have the same boats in at the top and the bottom. And then it just turns. We'll find out in a minute. The Falkirk Wheel is the world's only fully rotating boat lift, a unique engineering feat that connects the Forth and Clyde Canal to the Union Canal in Scotland. Opened in 2002, this 35-metre tall structure replaced a series of 11 locks, allowing boats to be lifted or lowered in a balanced fluid motion using Archimedes' principle. It's a fusion of art and engineering, serving as a landmark tourist attraction. The wheel features 2 opposing gondolas, each carrying a boat and water. As one gondola is lowered, the other rises, maintaining a perfect balance and making the lifting process energy efficient. The structure is powered by hydraulic motors, requiring very little energy to rotate. The wheel striking appearance was inspired by a Celtic axe. The boat trip really brings it to life, and we would definitely recommend anybody visiting this attraction. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it's a hot day. I'm hanging in the sunshine. You should hit me with a splash gun so I cool down. Won't you come on over? We can party till the sun's down. Baby, let me buy you a drink while we dance in a blink. I can go for some queen me too. Hey baby, if you're looking for some crazy, I tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over, we can take the roller coaster. So bring your A game, 'cause you know this party won't stop. We can never run out of time, sipping strawberry lime. You know I wanna share it with you, share it with you, share it with you. Hey baby, if you're looking for some crazy, I tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over, we can take the roller coaster, and you know everybody's looking for a ride in the water slide, water slide.
This morning we are walking from the Falkirk Wheel down to the Antonine Wall, or a very small part of it. The Antonine Wall is a World Heritage Site, so that's 2 in 2 days. The Antonine Way is the furthest north that the Romans got, never mind Hadrian's Wall, where I don't know how much further on Hadrian's Wall, 150 miles?
70 or so.
Okay, not as far as I thought. Maybe 70 miles north of Hadrian's Wall. Rough Castle, we got here. Up a little bit more of a hill, and that's the top of the castle, and I'll be the king of the castle. This is the longest surviving stretch of the Antonine Wall. It was ordered by Emperor Antonius Pius in about AD 142, following the conquest of this region. Antonius was the adopted son of Hadrian. The Romans arrived in Scotland in AD 71. Over the next 140 years, they made repeated attempts to subdue the people living in northern Britain, but by AD 212, they'd given up. I heard the other day that it was because they had other problems in other parts of the empire that they had to go and resolve, so they decided to abandon this bit. The wall is 37 miles across Scotland from the Clyde to the Forth. It was designed to defend and control the movement of people across the most northerly border of the Roman Empire.
So we've continued up from Falkirk along the A9 with a pit stop here at Pitlochry Dam. Stopped at Pitlochry Dam because there was a fish ladder. Not too sure, there seems to be some work going on as they build a new visitor centre, and we'll see whether there is still a fish ladder. Well, we believe that this is the fish ladder, although there don't seem to be any fishes laddering, and there was a sign at the beginning to say the fish ladder was closed, so I rather hope they asked the fish before they closed the ladder. Situated in the Tummel Valley, the hydroelectric power station provides enough power for 15,000 homes. Good afternoon. It is, guessing it's Monday.
It is Monday.
And we are, strangely, we parked outside of Morrison's in a place called Olness, which is just slightly north of Inverness. We set off this morning from our park up just outside Pitlochry. Pitlochry looks like a strange place. We didn't stop other than to go to the dam. Yeah. And we ended up in a little park up down a country lane. It was only supposed to be for 2 or 3 vans, and I think last night there must have been...
There was at least 6.
At least 6. It was very squashy, it was very muddy, it was very wet, and it wasn't terribly picturesque. So whilst we will put the what 3 words up, that's by no means a recommendation, and we have updated the recommendations on Search for Sites. So our intention today was to drive up to Aviemore and to find somewhere to park around Aviemore. We'd found a couple of Search for Site park-ups. The actuality of the situation was we didn't. So coming up the A9, there was a diversion just south of Aviemore, and so we followed Google Maps, and I think you're probably seeing some of the footage now. It wasn't that great a road. In fact, it was about 20 miles of not that great a road, and took getting on for 2.5 hours to traverse, bringing us into Inverness. So it's washing day, and we decided we were going to use the Revolut machines. So we went to the Revolut. There are 2 Revolut laundries in Inverness, one at a Co-op and one a little bit further across. So we went to where we thought it was, and it wasn't there. So it's not in Morrison's. We went to the Co-op. We used the Revolut machine, did the wash very well. It's not the cheapest of things in the world. Up to 20 kilos wash was, I think, £11. And we came to put it in the dryer. There was a lady there taking her drying out. It's not working. So we ended up with a whole load of drying. Decided that we were going to stay on a campsite tonight on the edge of the Black Isle. So booked the campsite. The campsite's got a laundry. And obviously I'd forgotten that I had put in the next Revolut, which was about 40 miles away, in Alness, which is where we are now. So when we got to Alness, what are we doing here? I did think it was a bit strange we didn't stop at the on the Black Isle. Anyway, long story short, the washing is currently drying. It's got absolutely no way of drying outside. It has rained virtually non-stop since about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and it's been really wet rain. We're not complaining about the rain, but flipping heck, it's rained. And so again, I'm not too sure what's next. We're about 2.5 hours now from Scrabster. Our ferry isn't until Thursday lunchtime, so we'll find something to do between there and here, or here and there, and take you with us. Good morning from Fortrose Bay campsite, where we spent a pleasant evening listening to the rain drumming down on the roof, and this morning it has dawned absolutely glorious. Don't know how long it'll last, but we'll see. Nice little campsite, split with a road in the middle that doesn't get terribly busy. £25 a night, all facilities as you would expect. So we've been out this morning, high tide, 7 a.m, and failed to see dolphins. It's a bit of a shame, but never mind. And I think later on we're going to go to the Falls of Shin and fail to see salmon. We're here at, I think it's Canby Point, where quite often you will see dolphins and whales. We were advised that the best time to be here was just at the turn, the rising of the tide. So it's just gone 7 o'clock in the morning. It's a beautiful morning compared to yesterday. We will of course report back should we be successful in finding said sea creatures.
Since there are no dolphins, I have a story for you. Cognac Ua was a 17th century seer from Lewis or Kintail. He told the future by looking through a hagstone. He worked at Bran Castle for the Earl and Countess of Seaforth. However, he made the mistake of telling the Countess in public what her husband was getting up to whilst he was in Paris. As a result, he was burned to death in a spiked barrel of tar. Before he died, he cursed the Seaforth family, and within 3 generations, his prophecies had come about. This included one of the descendants being deaf and dumb, caused by scarlet fever, at the age of 12. Later, his daughter returned home to inherit and accidentally killed her own sister. His other predictions included the Battle of Culloden and even the building of the Caledonian Canal.
Well, here we are at the Falls of Shin. The last time we came, there were salmon jumping up these falls. In common with our experiences so far, seals and dolphins, deers and red squirrels, nothing to be seen here. It's a shame because it really is a spectacular sight. The Falls of Shin has a visitor centre, cafe, car park. There's a motorhome stopover, which is £25 per night. Doesn't include electricity, although you can pay extra for that. And it's extra to use their facilities to dump your waste and things. Sadly today there were no salmon. We've been here in the past and there have been. So it's certainly worth visiting if you're in the area.
This is the Wee Hussey on Loch Shin. Legend has it that it was put here by someone after he was gifted some land and taught how to distill whiskey. The truth is that it was a float from some sort of parade, and it was put on the lake after the parade. But it's now become a major thing that people look out for. And we found it again, the Wee Hussey.
I make no apology for the road footage. This landscape is absolutely stunning. Especially today, we've had showers and sunshine, and it's just gorgeous. See the clouds just sitting on the top of the hill. What a truly magical place. We're between the town of Larg and heading towards Tung. Altnahara is the next village. Just a beautiful place. There is Claude.
Follow me to wonders. Take my hand and walk beside me in a world of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in.
Good morning from a little parking area not very far from Tung, where we spent last night. And let me show you this. What an incredible view. So we were parked just off a single track road. Unlike the single track road that we got stuck on in our diversion, this one's got lots of passing places. But the views here are endless. This area is part of the Flow Country, a vast expanse of blanket bog, sheltered straths, moorland and mountain that covers much of Caithness and Sutherland. Known as the Flow Country, it's one of Scotland's most important natural resources. The plants that do best in cool, wet conditions here are mosses. They've been spreading across the landscape since the end of the last ice age some 11,000 years ago, building a blanket of deep peat enough to cover a typical two-storey house. This peat holds nearly 3 times the amount of carbon in all of the UK's woodlands put together. That makes the Flow Country a vital defence against climate change. It's quite overcast, so I don't know whether you can see the incredible colour of this heather. It's the most amazing vibrant purple. And of course all the other heather tones that you would associate with heather. But the purple is extraordinary. Yesterday when we arrived it was sunny and that purple just popped. Although I didn't get the camera out.
I don't know what it means, but there's a smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future you need space, and you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wonders? Take my hand and walk beside me in a world of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in. So the days became weeks, it felt just like the night before. You were slowly fading in my mind. When you left I was so completely gone, but now I'm sure you were some of the best of things to find.
So we took a bit of a diversion on our route, headed away from Tongue and up towards Durness in order to see the, and I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, Achuvoldrak standing stone. Reviews on Google Maps say that it's the most disappointing standing stone in the country. Alternatively, it's something that you really should make a trip to see. I'll let you decide for yourselves as we do a drive-by of the standing stone. Thrilling.
Last minute change of plan. Our ferry was booked for tomorrow at 1:15 to go to the Orkney Isles, but that crossing is under review because of high winds. We're therefore getting the 7 p.m. ferry this evening. It is already really windy, so this might be an interesting crossing.
Whilst waiting for our ferry, we walked into Thurso and visited the North Coast Museum. Very interesting video all about the flow country and this incredibly interesting coastline with its two towns, Thurso and Wick. It was a pleasant walk around Thurso on a blustery September afternoon. Well, here we are on the ferry to Orkney. We were quite delayed, so it's quite dark now. Which is a shame because we won't see the Old Man of Hoy on our way across tonight. But I'll take you outside, see if I can get a little bit of footage. Around about the centre of the screen now is the Old Man of Hoy. Let's see if we can find her hiding around here somewhere, head buried in a Kindle. Hello.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Canyo. They treat me like a son anywhere I go, and even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm alone. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone. Leave me stranded, I know how to handle it all